Hello and welcome to this video. For some time now, we have been discussing different aspects of the visa bulletin that was released earlier in this month of October 2024. We saw, for example, that the October 2024 cutoff numbers were set very high. We saw the consequence of that, and quite recently we saw what could be the most likely reason for which the visa office established the cutoff numbers for the month of October 2024 so high. Now, in today's video, we will be answering two questions that DV 2025 applicants have been going about asking. Both of them concern the cutoff numbers that we have seen so far in the DV 2025 program. The first one is, will those cutoff numbers remain on a low? And the answer to that is no. You cannot have the cutoff numbers remain on a low throughout the program. And that is because of several reasons, especially the overall case number range. You cannot have an extensive case number range and the visa bulletin progression, that is the cutoff numbers, remain on a low. And that takes us to the next question. If the cutoff numbers will not remain on a low throughout the DV 2025 program, then when do we expect those cutoff numbers to begin their normal progression? And that is what we are about to answer in this video. Now, to answer that question, we are going to take into consideration 2 points. The first point has to do with something that we saw not too long ago, that is the principle that is behind the movement of the cutoff numbers. To recap, we said that when monthly visa availability is high, then the cutoff numbers are to be established to a high extent to make many cases current for interview, so that those many cases can benefit from the many visas that will be made available for the month concerned. On the other hand, when visa availability is low, then the cutoff numbers should be increased to a small extent to allow only a few cases to become current for interview, so that those few cases can benefit from the few visas that have been made available for the month in question. And finally, when there are already many cases current for interview and the number of visas to serve them are not as many, then the cutoff numbers are not supposed to be increased. That's the principle that we saw concerning the movements of the cutoff numbers quite recently. Now, applying that to the DV 2025 program, we have seen so far for the first 3 months in the DV 2025 program that the initial cutoff numbers were set very high. That allowed many cases to become current for interview, and as a result of that, those cutoff numbers have so far not increased. That's the first point. Now, the second point concerns the contrast that exists between the first quarter of the DV program and the rest of the fiscal year. I explained in a past video that during the first quarter, the embassies and consulates are known to interview a low number of diversity visa cases. Now, as we enter the month of January, that changes. That is, the number of cases that the embassies interview during the month of January is generally more than twice the average of what they interview during the first quarter of the diversity visa program year. So the first 3 months, when the cutoff numbers were established very high, making many cases current for interview, whereas that same period corresponds to the time of the fiscal year when visa availability is lowest. Then, on the other hand, we have the month of January, when there's so many cases that were made current for interview would have reduced, And the embassies and consulates would begin to interview many more diversity visa cases. So that's the current situation of the DV 2025 program. And considering these 2 points, we can now respond to the question, when do we expect the cutoff numbers to begin their normal progression in the DV 2025 program? And the answer to that is beginning with the cutoff numbers for the month of January 2025. Because by then, we expect the many cases that were made current for interview to have been served, at least in their majority, and then it is at that same time that the embassies are going to come alive when it comes to interviewing diversity visa cases. Now, there is something to underline here. I said beginning with the cutoff numbers for the month of January 2025, but there is the 2-month gap that exists between the publication of the cutoff numbers and the conduct of the interviews concerned. So although it concerns the cutoff numbers for the month of January 2025, those cutoff numbers should be made public in the visa bulletin that will be released during the month of November. We have already seen the visa bulletin that should have been released in this month of October 2024. So the visa bulletin in question that should show the cutoff numbers concerning the month of January is the visa bulletin that will be released in the month of November 2024. That is the next visa bulletin to be published in the DV 2025 program. So what I'm saying in essence is that we can expect the visa bulletin cutoff numbers or the cutoff numbers for the DV 2025 program to begin their normal progression as of the next visa bulletin. So that is it when it comes to this question of when can we expect the normal progression to begin in the cutoff numbers in the DV 2025 program. Hopefully in the new week, we will consider another aspect of the DV 2025 program. But for now, that is all. That brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Look out for the next video concerning the DV 2025 program very soon.